this physical body can feel pain. Only the brain can create mental torment. But nothing can touch our true nature, which is not of this universe. That is why when we die, something leaves this body. And when we see a corpse, we know that the essence of that person is no longer there. Nothing physical left. The brain is still there. The body's still there. But everything that made them who they are has gone. For most of my life, I spent it outwardly, thinking that if I just had enough pleasure, that I would be happy, that I would find a way to make it through some of the burdens of being alive. It was only when I met a man by accident who showed me how to see through that endless chase for more. How to turn inward to face any trauma and challenges, and to begin to heal what I didn't even know needed healing. And that accidental encounter led to a 15-year journey within to find out who I was beneath my past, my conditioning, and my culture. Beyond my name and my body. And over the course of this video, I will be sharing everything I learned on this journey. Because when everybody lives in balance and harmony within themselves, we will be able to live in balance and harmony with this planet. We think that our mind is who we are, that the thoughts are coming from our truest, deepest self. But this is a misunderstanding of the nature of our mind. The mind, like the rest of our body, is a tool for survival. It is not our master, and it is not our truest self, because when our mind stops, that is when we are our truest self. The mind is really nothing more than an AI word generator, one word at a time. It cannot contain any more information for us than one word at a time. But like using an AI language model, the real us is the user, and the mind is just a tool. For most of our lives, we are robots acting as if we have no control over what we're doing. A thought pops into our brain, and we act on it, like slaves to the mind. It's not enough that we pay attention to the mind. We have to pay attention to where the thoughts come from, why we have these thoughts, and what created them in the first place. Just like smoking cigarettes, thoughts become habits. And these thought patterns that emerge can either dictate our lives based on our troubling past, or we can break free with just simple awareness. Once you understand that you are not your thoughts, then it becomes easy to observe our thoughts without attachment, without longing for happy thoughts or fearing and resisting negative thoughts. We can just sit with ourselves and without getting attached or resisting, thoughts can flow by and it doesn't drain our energy because we are not constantly pulling or pushing them away. So often we identify with our thoughts, and this is because it convinces us to. And they use these thoughts misleading words like I. So it creates a sense of entity behind it. But anyone who's grown up knows that the mind in childhood is not the mind in teenage years, and it's not the mind in adulthood, and that our mind is constantly changing. But something remains. Something is constant, and that is our presence, the essence of who we are that never changes. It is that spark of life that is with us as long as we're breathing. And that is the true I. The rest is just illusion. To overcome negative self-talk, it's not enough to just notice the thoughts and the words. We have to also notice, why are they here? What did they come from? Oftentimes, it is other people's words that we internalize, starting at a very young age. Could be family, could be peers, could be the media telling us we're not good enough, or that life is supposed to be a certain way, and that overcoming adversity is just not even worth trying. Once we get to the true root, we can rip those roots out and we can plant seeds of truth and our higher wisdom, knowing that people have gotten out of any situation, that we have unlimited potential, and that we are only limited by the beliefs we have about ourselves. And when we really meditate on that, the self-criticism, the self-hatred naturally fall away. And all we're left with is those beautiful flowers of self-love, self-confidence, and self-awareness that we can do anything we set our minds to. And that even when we fail, it is not failure. It is a lesson learned that was necessary, and that we keep moving on and we can persevere and overcome anything, because there are no challenges or setbacks. There is just life and work to do, and we can get to it. Every great insight, every great idea came when there was a moment of stillness in our mind. It has been described as coming out of nowhere. It's not something we force effort onto and we just concentrate on something and we just go down this mental thought stream towards a great idea or an awakening moment. Instead, it is when we nurture stillness, when we quiet the voice. Only then can we allow our true calling to enter us and to lead us to where we know we need to go. It's not a thinking, it's a knowing. And as long as there is doubt or weighing options, we know that's not it. When it is a pull that we feel in our gut and our heart, we know to follow that. And sometimes the mind will put in other people's ideas about that. They will say, you can't do that. You aren't good enough to do that. Just stick to what we know. And when we can become aware of where those thoughts are coming from, we can recognize that they may not be serving us. They may not be in our best interest. And we can always think our way out of something we know we need to do. But the more we go in that direction of knowing, the greater our life becomes. The secret to a peaceful, happy, meaningful, rich life has nothing to do with the external stuff in our lives. And it has everything to do with how much time are we spending being where we are, being aware, fully listening, fully seeing our surroundings, feeling our body, focusing on what needs to be focused on. And so the secret is so simple that we all fail to do it because it seems too obvious and easy and not as attractive as all the fascinating stories and technologies are. But the solution is just to create more space in our lives where we are fully present, to go about our regular day, but to make sure we are guiding our mind and not just aimlessly stumbling through this life. What normally happens when we get trapped in these mental loops of worry and stress? Usually, we try to tune it out. We'll watch our favorite shows. We'll eat some of our favorite foods, drink some favorite beverages, maybe go shopping, whatever it takes to distract us from what's going on inside. And we do that so much that we have to go to a therapist for an hour a week to make us talk about what's really on our mind because we've been avoiding it all week. And it's immensely beneficial. But we don't have to do that. As soon as we find ourselves in a situation where we have that mental loop, instead of avoiding it, which only keeps it there and lets it manifest in unconscious ways, such as outbursts of anger or even illness and disease. Instead, we can allow it to be. We can make peace with it. Making peace with chaos makes chaos peaceful. If we are mad at the world, we are mad at something within ourselves that we recognize but are too afraid to look at and acknowledge. And that is why we express it through anger at the other. But there is no other. There is no separateness. What is in humanity is within us. The key is to look within, to find that oneness within us, and to accept everything that's there and to love it. Because only through acceptance and love does anger and hatred, jealousy, greed, sadness and misery all dissolve under that light of love. So self-compassion, self-acceptance, and self-love is the most selfless thing we can do. And it is where all relationships start from. And so it is the most important relationship we have. Only when we sit for an extended period of time can we truly uncover the nature of our mind. We have to sit without distraction for at least a few minutes every day in order to realize just how chaotic and in control our mind truly is. It's easy to think we're enlightened when we constantly have our phones, our songs, our podcasts, our movies and shows. But when we start to sit in meditation, after just 1 or 2 minutes, we may start to hear the voice in our head tell us to get up, to start doing something, to eat something, to work on something, that anything is better and more productive than this. Even though before we started, we said to ourselves, I don't need to do anything for the next 20 minutes besides focus on my breath or mantra. And yet, that mind turns into a raging storm trying to get us up. When the Buddha sat under a tree for 49 days and finally obtained enlightenment, he was tempted by women and food and wealth and gold and all the things that would normally distract a person. And because he stuck to the meditation, he finally broke free from the mind. And so just setting aside a few minutes, and you can make that more time as time goes on, can be so vital to truly uncovering how we are, how we're feeling, how our mind works, and how it really has complete control over us. And the simple act of meditation is the act of resistance and inner revolution. So every time we sit down, even if we're thinking constantly, even if we're thinking horrible thoughts and how terrible the meditation is, when that bell rings after 20 minutes, you can feel the victory of achievement. And there may be nothing more important than humans can do than to become free from their own mind. As long as we are a slave to the mind, our life will be chaotic and unfocused. But as soon as we break free, we can get to work building the life of our dreams. When everything you have is to help others, no one can steal from you. And these acts of selflessness dampen the ego and create that sense of oneness and expansive universal consciousness within us. Most of us spend our entire lives running away from stillness and silence. And the world has made it so easy to do so. But if we push back just a little bit and start to embrace silence and stillness, by recognizing at first that it is where true peace lies, and then later, when we feel the peace, we will crave silence and stillness, and we will naturally and effortlessly create moments of them and cherish them and protect them. There is no peace. There is no rest or relaxation like silence and stillness, or occasionally a bell. But we have to simply recognize that that is what peace is, that we have some resistance to it, that the ego wants constant pleasure, entertainment, and distraction, and start to make peace with that stillness. And then we will have peace and stillness in our lives, and then we will have peace in this world. Whether you are new to spirituality or you've been on the path for a long time, this book, Aloneness to Oneness, 22 Life Lessons to Change the Way You See the World, is for you. It encapsulates all of the teachings, wisdom, and insights I gained on my 9-year journey living in ashrams and monasteries with gurus, monks, and shamans around the world. And if you would like to explore in more depth the topics I bring up in the film Aloneness to Oneness, this book is for you. All of the profits will go to a nonprofit organization dedicated to making sure that these life-changing and healing teachings are available to every single person on the planet. And thanks to your generous support already, these books can be found in prisons across the United States. We will be working to continue getting these books into the hands of people who need it so that everybody can have the path to healing and self-actualization for themselves, their communities, and our planet.